Studies are now showing that young men graduating high school are more likely to be conservative. And more young women more likely to be liberal. It's a serious polarizing problem, and it's going to lead to some issues going down the road, further down the road. Not just right now with the whole cultural political divide. Remember, we talked a couple weeks ago about how you shouldn't date liberal women. Well, that's going to become more and more difficult for many conservative young men to follow because the amount of liberal of high school senior girls that consider themselves liberal has nearly doubled in the last 10 years. And same with conservative boys. Now, the left's freaking out about this. They say, how are we losing the young men? I don't know. Maybe it's like you spent the last 20 years telling young men that they're the problem with everything in society. Like policing their mannerisms, their jokes, the media they consume. Maybe that's part of the problem. Telling them, hey, you're inherently bad because you're straight, white, and male. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys imagine being an 18-year-old boy. I'm gonna give you guys a scenario. Imagine you're an 18-year-old boy. Can you imagine that for a second? Okay. You're at a lot of crossroads when you're a 17, 18-year-old boy, senior in high school. You're at a crossroads. You're full of testosterone. You're a typical young boy, right? Think about this. You're trying to figure out where you stand politically. Now, these are the people that are traditionally associated with being right-wing, the male influencers in the media that you see all the time that are traditionally associated with being conservative. Go ahead and pull the picture up there. Now, Tate's on there, but we've got Rogan, Zuby, Andrew Tate, Chuck Norris. So those are the people that traditionally right now, and then there's more, there's David Goggins, Dana White, people like that. The alpha male type. That's typically what people associate with conservative influencers, conservative male influencers in the media. Now, let's flip that. Let's see what the left has to offer. Go ahead and pull up the image of the famous liberal influencers, male influencers in the media. Go ahead and check this out. See, you've got Ethan Klein, Destiny, Harry Sisson, that little twink, and Dylan Mulvaney. Those are your options. What's a young boy going to pick? If you go up to the average 17-year-old boy, despite the years of indoctrination, the 12 years of indoctrination he just got in public school, and you go up to him and you say, hey, all right, I'm going to give you a choice. Who do you want to be more like, Dylan Mulvaney or Joe Rogan? What do you think he's going to say? What do you think he's going to say? And here's the problem. The further the left continues to alienate men, the more the higher we're going to see these numbers go. The more you continue to tell young men they're bad, they're potential rapists, they're monsters, they're predators, the more they're the problem for everything going on in society, the more you tell them, the more you scream at them about the patriarchy, and the more you try to attack them and invade their spaces through media, the worse it's going to get. And the problem is, when you have, here's the number so here's boys, here's girls. Men are on top because we just got done talking about Andrew Tate, so I had to keep it consistent. Here's boys, here's girls. When the amount of conservative men starts to go up and the amount of liberal women starts to go up, conservative women starts to go down, I guess you could say. Look how far away these two are. I'm making a little impromptu graph right here. Look how much further away they're getting. What do you think that's going to do to the dating pool? It's going to make people a lot less likely to get together, and it's going to make them a lot less likely to procreate. What do we talk about? The what? The why to the what? What do they do? Oh, population control. It's going to make people a lot less, because that's the reality, is a lot of conservative people that are conservative young men that are single are looking at this culture war issue, and like we talked a couple weeks ago, this stuff isn't a game anymore. This isn't we disagree on taxes and pot. This is literal demon stuff. This is, should I be able to chop my kid's balls off? That's the big issue right now in the culture war. You can't afford to date women like that. Or men if you're a conservative woman, I guess. But the further you push people away, the further those numbers go, the further apart those numbers get, the further apart those numbers get, and the more polarized both sides continue to get, the worse it's going to get, the less likely they're going to get together, and the less likely they are to procreate. That's just the reality. And when I sit on here and scream on this show till I'm blue in the face that the regime's number one goal, I mean, other than power and control, is population control, doesn't that kind of make sense? Hey, let's tell the boy, because men and women are different. Women typically like to follow rules. They like to make less noise. It's just a fact. It's not my Andrew Tate moment. I'm not being sexist. It's just the reality. Women don't like to make as much of a ruckus. Men, when you sit there and tell them you're bad, you've ruined this society, you're a natural predator, you're a potential rapist, you're bad because you're a straight white male. When you sit there and drill that into their heads, they're naturally going to be more rebellious. Just about every revolution throughout history has been run by who? Men. Because they get sick of the way they're being treated and they say, okay, we're done. We're going to do the opposite of this thing. And you can piss off or you can die in my way. And that's how it happens. So young women, when you preach them all this liberal bullshit, they're more likely to double down. Because they're more likely to follow the rules. And that's not always a bad thing that women are more likely to follow the rules. I'm not saying that at all. Young men, more hard-headed, more likely to go the opposite of what you're telling them, especially if you're intentionally victimizing them. So you're going to get these people, you've systematically done this to the school system, You've got young men and young women who have never been further apart of the political spectrum than they are right now, and you're continuing to divide them and continuing to polarize the parties. So the further those parties get, the more intense this culture war stuff gets, the higher the stakes are going to be. And more young men just going to go MGTOW. I'm done. I'll go give money to Andrew Tate's webcam models or something like that. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you can actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.